Welcome back, Tiger fans, to Rockin' Radio's football podcast. I'm Nate Edwards. That's Nathan Hurst. This is Before the Box Score. It's Alabama week. It's big game week. It is the first ranked matchup that Mizzou has of the 2025 season and just happens to be one of the toughest games on the schedule. Nathan Hurst, are you ready?
I am more than ready. I feel like the bye week was the perfect amount of take a breath, take a step back, rest. 5 straight home games in a row that wears on a man's soul. Got to rest, ready to go, ready to hit this one way harder, because it's, I think, probably the biggest game that has been at Throw Field in at least 12 years.
It's been a while. It's been a while. Yeah.
I would say 2013 Texas A&M game would have been the last game that had this potential magnitude. You could argue the LSU game in 2023, but I don't think we at that point yet knew what the potential of this Mizzou team was at that point.
And that's the thing. We don't really know what the potential of this team can be for 2025, but this game is going to go a long way to figure out what that could be. It's so funny. I feel like Mizzou fans in particular, probably every fan base, let me be honest, but I know Mizzou fans the best. We are so fast and so eager to rip our own team apart and tell them how crappy they are. And then when they are good, we'll always bemoan, you don't talk enough about Mizzou. You don't give them enough credit. And then, probably a little bit of that is true. This will go a long way to getting respect. Now, you can't just win one game and say, well, now you have to respect us for all of time. That's not how this works. But, okay, Nathan Hurst, how many times has Missouri beaten Alabama as an SEC team?
Zero.
Zero.
Outside of Texas, it's the one SEC team Mizzou has never beat, and we won't really count Texas because they haven't played them in the SEC.
Haven't played them in the SEC. That's it. And really, when you think about it, let's see here. Missouri's got 0 wins against Alabama. They have 1 win against Auburn. They have 1 win against LSU. They have 1 win against Georgia. And what do those teams all have in common? They've won national championships in the past 15 years. So this is why Mizzou teams rarely get talked about with the confidence or the benefit of the doubt that like an LSU or an Auburn or an Alabama gets. If you want respect in the SEC, it's not that you play for SEC titles. It's that, number one, you win them, and number two, you win a national title. Okay, national titles are how you get SEC respect. That's just flat out. And Mizzou has not done that and has not really come close to beating teams of that caliber. So that's why this game is so important. And it's not nearly as important as trying to beat the defending Heisman Trophy winner to get your first trip to the SEC championship. Not that important, but it's up there. And this will go a long way to figure out what exactly this team can be and how well they can perform against teams of the caliber of Alabama. So it's very exciting. But we're going to get to that in a second because we got some Cruton news to talk about. Now, as we are recording, it is 8:11 in the PM on October 8th. We just saw a little nugget from our friend Hayes Fawcett saying that there's not one but two Tiger commits that are coming down the pipe. We do not currently know who they are. We have our ideas, but we don't officially know yet, so we're not going to say anything. But we could talk about the ones that we got last week with a flip and another blue chipper added, so very exciting times. Let's start with the first one first, and of course, currently the highest ranked commit in the 2026 recruiting class. His name is J.J. Bush. He is the 271st best player according to 247 Composite. He is a linebacker from Theodore, Alabama. Had no idea that was a place. But he's the 17th best linebacker in the country, 14th best player in Alabama. He is 6'3", 210, and he is one of the newer Missouri commits. Nathan Hurst, how do you feel about this guy?
Excited. I mean, 4-star linebacker from an SEC recruiting ground. I mean, he had plenty of great offers. He has an amazing linebacker name. I just feel like J.J. Bush is a guy that is going to knock the snot out of you. Whether he's a safety or a linebacker, he's got a name that makes it sound like he's fast and he hits hard. And if you watch his tape, he's fast and he hits hard. So I'm, it's nominative determinism, I think, in some way. But yeah, really excited to get this guy. I think it was a little bit of reaping the benefits of getting a coach fired in terms of Sam Pittman going out the door because he had previously committed to Arkansas. And as always happens when a coach is fired or leaves, there's a run of recruits out the door, and Mizzou was the beneficiary, at least of that now. And who knows, that could happen down more of those could happen down the road as well. But really excited to have this guy on. Just kind of like, I mean, he's not the exact same type of player as Dante McClellan, but four-star linebacker from out of state. That's a great guy. That's a great guy to get.
Yeah. It's so weird. Recruiting in general at Missouri, but certainly for this specific position, I feel like we've gone so long. Missouri has gone so long with recruiting under the radar folks anyway, but certainly at the linebacking position. If you think about, Sean Weatherspoon, you think about Cale Garrett, Nick Bolton,
Cantrell brothers,
like guys who were good, very good high school players, but you didn't really expect a whole lot of them until they got onto campus and go, oh, like this guy is really good. You just didn't have a whole lot of blue chip recruiting in the linebacking core when you're at Mizzou. And now we've got, I mean, you got Nick Rodriguez. You've got, well, you can count Tyron Hopper, who transferred in, sure. We got Jeremiah Beasley, right? I know the Trotter kid isn't a 4-star, but he should have been. You had Brian Huff, who was a 3-4-star guy. You had Dante McClellan, one of my favorite players currently. He was a 4-star guy. And you got just stacking blue chippers in the linebacking core when Mizzou has done so well without getting those sorts of guys. It's weird, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, we listed off a lot of really good college and, in Nick Bolton's case, really good pro linebackers, but I feel like in the last 3 or so years, the athleticism of the position has greatly increased. Now, Bolton's a great player, a Pro Bowl caliber player, but he's not coming out of college. He wasn't the most athletic guy. He just always knew where to be at the right spot and would always make a tackle when he was there. When he got to the right spot. The guys we've got coming in now, currently playing and coming in now, are 100% faster. Now, are they as smart, as heady, as instinctive as guys like that? That remains to be seen. But we'll have to find out how they develop. But really excited to get those guys on campus and start developing them from scratch, and not really even from scratch because they are so athletic to begin with.
You need athletic linebackers. That's just the modern game. I think we're starting to see a pendulum swing. In the late aughts, it was all high flying, 5 wide, throw it, go fast kind of offenses. And then it took a while, but then the blue bloods started doing that. So now you see more underdog tactics embrace the beefy linemen with a couple good running backs and like that sort of thing, like the Stanford model or what Missouri's running now. So I think you'll probably, as the pendulum of offense swings back to kind of more ground and pound, you'll probably see defense eventually react to that. But as of now, if you're a linebacker, you kind of also have to be a safety, right? And if you're a safety, you kind of have to be a corner and a linebacker. Like there's just a lot of hybridization of defense, and they really answer the issues of whatever our offense is doing, which is depth, right? Hey, we're going to play a ton of guys, and they can all do a little bit of everything, and like we can kind of mix and match as we see fit. So you need those linebackers to be athletic. That's the longest way for me to say, yes, you are right. They need to be able to do a lot of different things. They need to be havocy. They need to be able to fit the run and play the zone, and that's why you want those types of athletes in there. And they might struggle at times with doing something specific, but you'd much rather have a blue chipper who can do a lot of things really well than one guy who's got one skill. So
yeah, no doubt. You hear the term a lot, at least in the last, I don't know, 5 to 10 years in the basketball sphere about positionless basketball, meaning you have a bunch of guys that are all 6'7", and honestly, if you follow Dennis Gates and Mizzou's basketball closely, he's kind of trying to go this way slowly. It takes a while, but have a bunch of guys that are all really long, really fast, can jump really high, really athletic, can play all over the court, pass the ball, shoot the ball, rebound, play defense, all that in one, as opposed to having specialization. And you're really seeing that, especially in the college game and football, on the football side, on the defensive side, are these guys that are being asked to do. You have to be able to come up and fill gaps in the run game, but you also have to be able to cover tight ends and running backs downfield, and perhaps even on a weird weird zone blitz thing, you may find yourself one-on-one with a wide receiver on the outside. I know Trotter found himself deep on covering a wide receiver a couple against South Carolina. It
Yeah.
didn't go great.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for that. That's not really his skill set. But the way that defensive coordinators are trying to find creative ways to mix and match and cause confusion, having big fast guys that can do a whole bunch of things is not only important but really vital if you're going to slow modern offenses down.
Absolutely. And then the second commit was the day later. It was on the 4th. We had a gentleman named TJ Hodges. Terry is his Christian name, but he is a running back. Well, athlete on some recruiting sites, running back on others. If you look at the composite, he's the 328th best player, 4-star running back out of Bryant, Arkansas, 3rd best player out of Arkansas, 18th best running back prospect out there. 6 foot 180. So, by recruiting math, that's probably what, 5'10, 175, 170, something like that. Big get, another blue chipper guy, out of state blue chipper, which is huge. I think Missouri's pretty good on running backs for a while, so I'm not anticipating seeing him anytime soon. But hey, blue chip running back, I'll always take that.
Yeah, I mean, you just build a stable of 4-star guys, and that's a position where having depth is vital because you just never know, when a guy's going to go down. And if you fill a room full of really talented players, and in the modern game, 1 or 2 of those might move on to look for more playing time. You got to have guys to step in and fill the gap there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think we've seen in the last couple of years that the Drinkwitz likes to bring in experienced transfer guys as well. But it's nice to be able to pair a homegrown guy with an experienced guy like they're doing this year with Hardy and Roberts. Both those guys have another year, or at least 1 more year of eligibility, 2 for Hardy, if depending on if he wants to stick around or not. But you go on down the list of other guys, maybe 1 or 2 of those decide they're not going to get on the field and move on. You got to be able to backfill because you really need four guys you can depend on to feel good about that position, just because you never know when an ankle is going to get turned or anything like that for that position.
Kyron Lacey. That's why you get as many talented running backs as you can. And it's not running back specific. I mean, to your point, yes, that is important, but yeah, that's true for quarterbacks. That's true for wide receivers. That's maybe less true for tight ends, but you get the idea. You never know when someone can leave. It's not just an injury or early graduation thing. Now it's, hey, someone's going to pay me, and I haven't done anything here, so you're not going to pay me here. Even if you are next in line to tote the rock, Mr. Lacey. But hey, he's doing great at Ole Miss, so who gives a crap? Also, Ahmad Hardy's here. It's awesome. So
I think I'd rather have Hardy.
I think so too. But you get the idea, right? Young guys can get dollar signs in their eyes and go somewhere else. So you just keep adding numbers, and you'll let the attrition fall the way it does, and you're prepared. And also, I mean, I don't want to downplay recruiting in this position, but to me, as long as we got Coach Curtis Looper as running backs coach, I'm less hesitant about exactly where we get the guys and more that we get them, because it seems like he does a really good job of utilizing everybody's skill set in this offense, and the guy needs to get paid more. That's my official stance.
He utilizes their skill set and he develops them into complete backs. I mean, look what Jamal Roberts was last year. He was a 3rd down guy. They knew his skill set at the time was pass blocking. He would run a little bit, and he could catch the ball pretty well. But he was in there as a pass blocker on 3rd down, and he's developed from that. He still does that really well, but he's moved from that to a very complete back, who you were more than happy to give 20 carries to if Ahmad Hardy weren't there. And hopefully that will never have to be the case. But he's a guy that you would more than trust to do that, and to come from no playing time as a freshman to to where he is now, and probably, I mean, he's still, I think, like number 7 in the SEC in rushing yards.
Probably.
Ahmad Hardy is far and away number 1, but to have 2 guys on the top 6 or 7, I mean, he's in the top, easily in the top 10, is pretty nuts. And it shows how good the offense is at running the ball anyway, but also his own skill set, because he's splitting carries with that guy.
Yeah. So Hodges joins Maxwell Warner as the 2 running backs from this class currently. If you remember, Warner is the 3-star from Chicago. I think Whitney Young High School, if I remember correctly. So there's your 2. You probably add a transfer, kind of depending on how attrition goes in the offseason. But yeah, I think they're set, which is always nice to hear. And October 8th, that's a pretty good place to be. Okay. It's Alabama week, Nathan Hurst. Let's get going, man. Let's get going. I am so excited for this game. I was on an Alabama podcast last night, and we were discussing just kind of like depth charts and like prognostications for this game. What's the line right now? 3.5, 4.5?
The last I saw was 3.5, but that was yesterday. I haven't seen what it's done today.
Man, I don't know if it's a Saban's gone effect or an NIL and portal effect, but this is the closest that Vegas has viewed Missouri and Alabama. And it's unique. It's nice. It's nice. I think it says a lot, but I don't know. How do you interpret that?
It's a combination of several things. Saban's got the Saban aura is gone. There's not that, just Death Star. It doesn't matter who you are because the Death Star is coming in, and they're just going to blast you once and you're smithereens. That's not there anymore. That doesn't mean that Alabama isn't almost as, if not just as talented, but they just don't have that same aura as when Saban was there. Two, this is the best Mizzou team the best team that Mizzou has had since in any of the times they played Alabama. Last year they were pretty good,
yeah,
but this team I think is better than last year's team, and they were playing in Tuscaloosa. So, that makes a big difference as well. You think of the other times Alabama's come into Columbia, 2012, that team was cheeks just because of all the injuries.
No quarterback, and it was raining like cats and balls. It was terrible.
Right. And then 2020, Alabama won the national championship, and it was Drinkwitz's first year.
Yeah, first game.
And it was COVID. First game. Yeah, first game of his first year. So those teams weren't going to be within 2 or 3 scores on a line anyway. So, put those 2 things together. And the fact that Alabama then also has a loss on their resume. They had a couple of good wins as well, but they look very concerning in their first week against a Florida State team that has gone on to also lose to teams that you wouldn't think that they would as well. So it's kind of a buildup of it all, but we're here, and I think that 3.5 point line sounds about right to me. If I had to set it, that's where I would have put it.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you watch that Florida State Alabama game?
I did.
Yeah. It was bad. Like, Tommy Castellanos did basically whatever he wanted, and Florida State ran all over them. And I have watched Alabama since then, and that game was an anomaly. Don't read anything from that. That seems more like an Alabama team that was wholly uninterested in putting effort into beating Florida State, and completely surprised that a 2-win team could be completely different in 1 year thanks to a massive amount of portaling. Like, it surprised them. They were surprised probably more than any of us. So that was not. I think they had 87 yards rushing. Okay, that's no 250 yards passing. No, that's not the Alabama that it is now. Now they still got very lucky against Georgia. I'm not denying that, but this is not that team. Now they are still very gettable. There are very clear ways that you can attack this team and beat them, which shocked me when I was looking under the hood at the advanced stats. I could not believe what I was saying. The years of the dreadnought defensive lines that just swallowed running backs, like that's gone. That's gone. They're still very good, but the aura, the mystique, the power is gone.
There's no longer a Death Star trench you have to navigate to blow them up. There's a lot more options for hitting them, body blows even, and you couldn't really body blow a Nick Saban Alabama team.
You really couldn't, no, because they had just more bodies than you did. Didn't matter.
And better ones.
Didn't matter which ones you well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to finish that sentence, and we're going to stop that, park that, and move on. Let's go through Alabama just to refresh everybody. Quarterback is Ty Simpson. Is he a blue chipper? Yeah, of course he is. This is Alabama. Okay. Is he any good? Yeah, he's actually pretty good. We're talking like Heisman candidate quarterback at this point. Just basically what he did how he was able to weather the storm against Florida State. Obviously, went on the road or beat Vanderbilt last week, beat Georgia the week before that. Has only thrown one interception on the year. He kind of moves like Peyton Manning. You know that man, like that wide stance that Manning always had. He replicates that. He's got a very quick release, and he can scoot. Like I didn't think he could run, and then he was running against Vanderbilt. I was like, well, crap. That's a new wrinkle that we have to deal with now. This is a really good quarterback. And oh, by the way, his receivers are elite, god tier receivers. How do you feel about Mr. Simpson?
Yeah, he's a good player. I would say he's mobile. I wouldn't call him a great runner, as a dangerous runner, but
Yeah,
he's mobile.
yeah.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of like how Drew Lock or Blaine Gabbert were mobile, where he's not. They're not guys that you're going to call a lot of designed runs for. But if you get them moving in the right direction and give them 3 steps, they can get up to speed and actually move pretty fast. So you don't want to leave a wide open lane for him because he can pick up 10, 15 yards pretty easily. But he's not a Lenoris Sellers, a Marcel Reed, guys that they're going to play that are dangerous, where or a Jalen Daniels, where they could put up 40 yards on you real fast if
Mm.
you miss an assignment. So that said, he's by far the best passing quarterback that they will have played, or at least the most polished passing quarterback that they will play thus far. And if for no other reason, then as you said, their wide receivers are really good and really scary. They have a good tight end in Cuevas. Their running backs can catch the ball, so they've got probably 8 guys deep that are really reliable receivers. And the Mizzou defense is going to have its hands full just keeping track of them all, because you could feel like you really got 1 or 2 of those guys locked down, and before you know it, Jeremy Bernard breaks away for an 80-yard touchdown pass, which this defense has also been prone to give up from time to time.
Yeah, and see that's the problem. Not only does Ty Simpson have a 70% completion percentage, okay, 70, but it's 13 yards per completion, and it's 8.4 yards per dropback. That is high tier on both of those numbers. 10.9 yards adjusted net yards per attempt. That's like Heisman level. Okay. 82.2 QBR. The most scary stat for me, and it might be more indicative of their competition, or maybe it's more indicative of Ty Simpson. I have not figured this out yet. But he gets pressured on 20% of his dropbacks. But he only gets sacked on 4%. That's like middle bottom tier pressure rate, upper elite tier sack rate, which is not great. I mean, you like those two to be the same, and they're not. So I guess the positive here is that the offensive line can be beat. They can get pressure, but he's really good at escaping it, kind of maneuvering through the pocket or just scooting out. He's really hard to bring down for a sack. Now, they have not faced a pass rush like Mizzou, okay? But Mizzou is also not delivered on the sacks like you would like. Are the pressures there? Yeah, buddy, they're totally there. Are the sacks there? Not yet. So that's a huge battle. Missouri's defensive line versus the offensive line and Ty Simpson. Can you bring him to the ground? And right now, I just don't know. I'm going to give credit to Ty Simpson and say he's probably going to continue to be great, but I don't know. Do you think this is the defensive end tandem? Is this the defensive line that can finally beat him?
I mean, it's going to have to be. If Mizzou's going to win this game, that's going to be the number one thing to look at, is how much pressure can they get on Simpson? And I mean, yeah, they need to put him on the ground a few times. He's been sacked 8 times on the season. I think 4 of them were last week to Vanderbilt. So Mizzou's pass rushers are better than Vanderbilt's. Vanderbilt's got an okay defense, but I would take Mizzou's guys over theirs in terms of pass rushing. So I'd have to think that they can get him on the ground at least 4 times. But really, they just need to hurry him and not get to him before Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard are going to get open downfield, because they are going to get open downfield. No matter how well the secondary plays, these guys are NFL caliber receivers. They will be playing in 2 years. Both of them will be playing in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got to speed Simpson up, make him get rid of the ball fast. So even when he does complete passes, they're 5 yards down the field, 8 yards down the field. They're not 13 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field, 40 yards down the field. And that's going to be the stat. I don't know if you could boil it down to a single stat, but that's going to be the battle that Mizzou is going to have to win enough because they can hold on to the ball, they can drain the clock down, they can go on long sustained drives, they can finish with touchdowns. But if they turn around and let Jeremy Bernard go 80 yards in 3 plays, or Ryan Williams goes 40 yards in 6 plays, you've just not wasted, but you've completely negated what you just done on the other end.
Yeah.
So and this offense can do that. They are a big play offense. They've got the skill, they've got the ability, they have the talent, they have the athleticism, and it's not just those two guys. They've got 4 other receivers that could beat you deep too if you're not paying.
That's
paying
true,
attention.
but I don't think it's going to matter. Alabama cannot run the ball very well. Like
Yeah.
to that point, Jam Miller has attempted 38 rushes on the year. My God, we're in week 6. 38 rushes, one rushing touchdown. Ty Simpson has more rushing touchdowns than Jam Miller does.
Yeah, he did miss the first game or two of their season.
Okay,
which
Kevin Riley
cuts down a
has
little
also
bit,
38 carries, 167 yards, no touchdowns. They're basically the same guy, and they've done nothing. You know how when South Carolina was trying to keep it close and they just said, fuck it, we're not running anymore, we're just going to pass it? They did that. Remember when Kansas was like, we got to get a score, and Jalen Daniels was like, screw it, I'm just going to throw it. They did that. Alabama knows they can't run. They know they have apparently a Heisman caliber quarterback and 2 Blitnikoff winning wide receivers. We've seen this one before. It was called 2023 LSU. And that did not work out well. I am the reason Mizzou loses this game is that Alabama says, we're not even going to try to run. And we're just going to bomb it 40 times, and it's going to work because your secondary sucks, and our receivers can beat them one-on-one, or they can find the zones. And I think that Alabama victory is going to feature like a 32 for 48 kind of stat line from Ty Simpson, and 15 yards per drop back, 400 yards, and like 20 attempts on the ground for like 60 yards, and that's it. Because I love Dre Norwood and Toriano Pride. They're not going to be able to stop Jeremy Bernard. They're not going to stop Ryan Williams. Bernard has oh my good God. He is averaging 15.7 yards per catch. He's got 0 drops on the year and 55.6% success rate. And he gets a first down on 72% of his catches. That's the guy. That's the guy who's going to kill us. Not Ryan Williams, who's also good. A little bit of dropsies, but it's going to be Jeremy Bernard, and nobody is going to be able to cover him. That's how they win.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to. Batoon's going to have to almost try and force them to run the ball by putting, 3 safeties play, 3 deep safeties. Going to have very light boxes, maybe 5-man box, and almost force them like that. They're going to have, we're going to make you run the ball, and then that will in turn shorten the clock a little bit and reduce the number of possessions that they have to go deep as well. I think that's going to be their best bet beyond racking up 7-8 sacks, which they could get 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know if they can get 8. That's going to be the only other way is force them to run it and still stop them.
Yeah.
Put so many guys back in coverage, still playing man. I mean, you could have like play 2 deep safety and then still have man underneath it, and then only have five guys in the box. Force them to run it. Hope that you can stop them for 3.5 yards per carry, and then do that twice, and then maybe force an incompletion on 3rd down. That's how you get off the field. But it's a scary matchup, knowing that this is Mizzou's biggest weakness and it's Alabama's biggest strength.
Yep. Now on the flip side, because it's not all bad.
No,
Alabama's defense. You know what they're not good at? Stopping the run.
Yeah.
What's Mizzou good at? Well, it's good at running the ball. They can do it nonstop because they got 2 guys who can do it, plus Bill Perbula. I think this is, I don't know if we're going to ever get the rare 3 guys over 100 yards. But if it had to happen, this would be a recipe for that to happen. I don't want to see the ball being thrown. I don't really want to see that. They'll give it to you, but not a lot. I think this is a situation where Ahmad Hardy gets 100 yards in the first half, and Mizzou just cranks it down to 3rd gear and like we're not going anywhere. We're not doing anything. We're in no hurry. We're just gonna make you bored, make you desperate. And here's our friend Ahmad, and he is punching you in the dick for the 17th time this hour. And you just do that over and over again. And I hope that's enough.
And that's what Vanderbilt did in the first half against Alabama last week. And they did it to great success. I mean, that game was tied going into halftime, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then Alabama came out, scored a touchdown, got up by 2 scores, or they got a couple of field goals, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, Vanderbilt, they panicked. They went away from it, or from the run, kept trying to throw it.
2 red zone
Led to a
turnovers
couple,
will do that to you. Yeah.
yeah, a couple interceptions there, or an interception there. And before you know it, they lost by 16 points, I think was the final, which is 2 possessions. They did not get blown out. If they didn't turn over the ball and were able to continue the game plan that they had success in the first half in the second half, because I don't think it was even Alabama doing anything better in the second half.
No.
Vanderbilt kind of shot themselves in the foot, and then that wore their defense out, and the rest is history. But there's no reason Mizzou can run the ball better than Vanderbilt can run the ball. They do it differently, but they can run the ball. They've proven to be more effective at running the ball than Vanderbilt has, and more efficient at doing it. So I don't see any reason why they can't do it. If they can't, you can write this one off, because there's no way that the defense is going to be able to hold off. They're going to have to run the ball well to win this game.
And I know last year was bad. They got shut out. They also lost Brady Cook in the first quarter, I want to say. I think it was the first quarter.
It was early second, but the game was 6-0 with 3 minutes left in the first half.
That's what I was going to say. If you squinted and you were paying attention, like, Mizzou was running the game plan they wanted. They had grounded down. It was really like a kind of Cro-Magnon approach, but like it was working. The defense was holding. Missouri was winning time of possession. They were not doing anything crazy, but they're trying to win via field position, right? We're going to win this punting duel. We're going to put us in a position to knock through a field goal and, just waste time. Just waste time. And it was working. And then Brady Cook got taken out, and Drew Pine
3 picks.
He was not gonna be able to execute the way that Mizzou needed him to. So at least not against Alabama. So I go back to last year's Alabama team. I go back to 2023 Georgia. Hell, I go back to 2022 Georgia. Like, Eli Drinkwitz has got a pretty good idea of how to play underdog to the big dogs. He's tried to build his team to emphasize those strengths, those underdog tactics. Has not always worked. It's rarely worked, frankly. Let's be honest. But he's got a good idea.
He's had much more undermatched rosters.
Yes.
In those years where he's gotten close, where he's been competitive against far superior teams. This is the first time where he's playing, yes, a more talented team, but the gap there is much smaller than it was in 2020. Tons smaller than in 2022.
Mm-hmm.
But even 2023 Georgia, and then especially last year too against Alabama, just way smaller in terms of depth of talent across the board. So if he is able to exercise that same game plan, it could look very differently.
Yeah, the only difference is that he does not have a reliable kicker this year. That's really the biggest problem. Nothing against Lil Bobby Meyer, but you do not want a freshman in his 6th game coming out there to try and beat Alabama. That's you don't want to be in that position. You want to avoid it as much as you can. So.
To be fair, Alabama's kicker is not great either.
If we're keeping up the Star Wars, comparisons, a kicker was the end of the trench for Alabama's Death Star. It was always a thing that undid them, always. And I will always maintain, because I find it funny, that the reason that they couldn't find a good kicker is because kickers don't get ranked and from like 247 or Rivals or any of those guys, they don't really tend to get ranked, so they couldn't find what the best one was, and couldn't stockpile 7 of them. But yeah, it's also their issue too. I agree, but you just I don't know. The saving grace here for me, and you can tell me why you feel good about this game. Alabama has been total shit on the road this year. Now, it's only 2 games, but they flat out got beat up by Florida State. I know it was the first game of the year. I told you to forget about it, but it was on the road, and they had a 4% post-game win expectancy. Then they went on the road to Georgia 3 weeks later, and they did win, okay? I'm not denying that. But they played like crap, and they had a 19% post-game win expectancy. They kind of stink on the road. They will be on the road. Last time Missouri lost a home game was against a team very much like this Alabama team, was 2023 LSU. Heisman contending quarterback, two awesome receivers that would be playing in the NFL. Like, it's been a while. I don't know. How do you feel good about this game? Tell me something else.
I mean, I feel good because, as we talked about, Drinkwitz has the strategy down for how to make these games competitive and manageable and be right there at the end. Um, he knows how to control the ball, run the clock, move the ball, score points. Hopefully, those are this time around touchdowns and not field goals. And for multiple reasons, we talked about the kicker already,
Mm-hmm.
but they're going to have to score touchdowns to beat Alabama. They're not going to win 12-9.
No.
So I feel good that they have the strategy and they have the talent this year to do it, to execute it to its completion. On the defensive side, I feel better because this is the best pass rush that Alabama will have seen this year. Damon Wilson by himself has more quarterback pressures than the entire Georgia team,
Wild.
which is an outrageous stat.
Wild.
So part of that is Georgia doesn't, for whatever reason, however good their defense always is, they're just never a huge quarterback pressure team. They'd much rather just smother you, let you get to the line of scrimmage and then wrap you up and drop you. But it's still crazy that by himself has more. And then you add on Zion Young to that. You add on, some of the, and we haven't seen a whole lot of interesting blitzes from Corey Batoon yet.
Not yet.
I hope he has a couple in the bag that he's saved up that they haven't seen. Because interesting note, Alabama's defensive coordinator is Kane Womack, who was Corey Batoon's boss at South Alabama. So they know each other pretty well. They know each other's strategies and tendencies pretty well. So I'll be very interested to see if both of them haven't talked to the offensive sides to say, hey, watch for this, look for this. He likes to do this. He's into this. On third downs, he likes to do these sorts of things. That there's been some communication, or you hope that there has been that way. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out. But the way that Mizzou can stop this passing game, I like their chances to get enough pressure on him. Certainly better than anyone else. Because, as you said, they didn't look amazing against Georgia, who did not pressure him very much. Now Georgia has way better secondary. But if you can get more pressure on him, then that may offset that secondary disadvantage. Florida State, hard to really say what their defense is. They just kind of, Alabama wasn't ready for that game. They were not prepared. They were not up for it on both sides of the ball, and they just got run over. And Florida State's good enough to do that. I'm more than happy if they want to not be ready on Saturday either.
Yeah.
We are beautifully timed, sandwiched between three emotional games for them. They played at Georgia, which is just a huge game. They then got their revenge against Vanderbilt, and next week they get to go for their revenge against Tennessee, who beat them last year and who is already one of their top two rivals. So we're a little old Mizzou just stuck right here in the middle. If they want to just not get up for this one because they got to get up, they've already gotten up 2 weeks in a row and they got to get up next week. That's perfectly fine with me.
So Florida State's defense is currently 30th in SP+.
Okay. So pretty good. They're pretty good.
32nd. So pretty good.
Not elite, but pretty good.
No.
Mizzou's is better. Mizzou's ranked
Georgia is 20th in defensive SP+. And Missouri is 14th.
Yeah.
This will be the best defense they've ever seen. Also, fun little nugget. I think, I don't remember the credit. Might be Cole Kubielek, but let me just say it. Never ever in the history of college football has an SEC team faced 3 ranked opponents back to back to back with no bye week in there and won all 3. No SEC team has ever done that. And Missouri will be third.
2-0, yeah.
2-0 against ranked teams. This will be the third.
History is on our side.
Oh, my God. There's all these things that you're looking at, like, emotional trap game, which they said, they're 5-0 and they're ranked. That's not a trap. Road game, the home win streak for Mizzou, better defense they've ever seen for Mizzou, but like best offense we've ever seen. Styles, man, I feel like whichever offense is playing the style they want, and then whichever defense gets tired first, that's your winner. Because Alabama has the third fewest plays faced in the country, topped only by Missouri, who's number 1.
Yeah.
So this is like the clash of defenses who have just put in the bare minimum and said, I'm done. So if you can tire out one of them, like that's the goal. I don't know. What are you thinking? What's going to happen here?
I'm feeling weirdly, cautiously optimistic.
Oh boy.
But I know that also is only can set me up for heartbreak down the road. But what is fandom without risking heartbreak? But I feel pretty good. I feel pretty good about this one. Not that it's going to be it's going to be a close game because that's what Mizzou plays is close games.
Yeah.
But Alabama hasn't really played in a lot of close games. Certainly not this year. I mean, they did play the Georgia game, but that really wasn't like a last second field goal to win the game sort of a game.
No.
Vanderbilt they kind of walked away with later, as the second half went along. So Mizzou's got a little more experience in that realm than them. They got the home crowd behind them. I'm thinking Mizzou's gonna pull this one out. I think it might happen.
I think it's the first to 30, right? I think 30 points. You have to score 30 to win.
Yes.
30-28. 30-28 Alabama.
Oh man. You're just putting on your own cup just so you don't hurt yourself.
That's what I do.
Guarded your heart.
That's what I do. I think it's coming down to a field goal that gets missed. That's what I think happens.
Well, that would be extra heartbreaking.
It would be
for sure.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be similar, but I'm going to go 31-27 Mizzou.
Okay.
Where they make the field goal and they don't.
There you go.
It.
Yeah. No misses.
So I big shot Bob. He's got my confidence.
Big balls, Bob. Make it happen. Jesus. Well, we are going to find out in Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, less than 3 days. I can't wait. You are going to be at the game.
I'll be there. I'll probably be sunburned by the time you next see me.
That's not unique. I feel like you're always sunburned.
What's
the menu for the tailgate? What are we doing?
It's 11 a.m. game, so we usually aren't cooking up anything. Donuts. I probably will be on the order. May actually stop by a buddy's tailgate instead. So I don't know what he's planning, but it'll be whatever it is. It will taste good with Coors Light.
There you go.
Everything tastes good with Coors Light.
That's right.
Whatever I eat will taste good with Coors Light.
It sounds delicious. Yeah. And we will get back to you guys once the game is done. We'll give you the recap, the heartbreak or the victory, whichever one. We will be there to tell you all about it because that is going to be the show for today. As always, we appreciate the downloads and the subscriptions. You can leave a comment or you can rate us. We love all types of feedback from you all. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Nate G. Edwards. He's at Burst to Hearst. And of course, you can follow the Rockin' flagship at Rockin' Nation and our podcasting outlet at Rockin' Radio. We appreciate you tuning in this time. We'll try to do better next time. And until then, MIZ.
ZOU.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Rock M Radio, a proud partner of Fans First Sports Network. Rock M Radio is the official podcast network of Rock M Plus, a new and exciting subscription service provided by me and the other voices of Rock M Radio. Please take a few moments to head over to rockm.plus and sign up for an account today. The cost is only $5 a month, and benefits include access to our live podcast, a subscriber-only message board, weekly newsletters, and more. If you enjoyed this episode of Rock M Radio and would like to see more just like it beamed directly into your personal device, make sure to click the subscribe button below and tell your friends. Our podcast feed is available through the Apple Podcast app for iPhone, Google Podcast app for Android, whatever app you listen to your podcast. You can also find Rock M Radio on Spotify. If you're looking for a podcast about your favorite team that is not the Missouri Tigers, Fan First Sports Network is your answer. A full podcast network loaded with the team-specific podcasts covering Major League Baseball, the NFL, NHL, NBA, MLS, and more. And we'll be back with more episodes of Rock M Radio coming to you soon.